Here is the past paper analysis, guys. What has been tested in all the 7, there are actually 9 attempts for SPR since September 2018. But because we don't have we don't have last paper as a examiner report, so we won't be able to gather what is being tested in the last 2 attempts. But other than that, what have been tested is here, guys. So let's see what is the trend. You just need to understand what is the trend. So listen carefully. Now, guys, in September 2008, he just asked about the goodwill calculation. And obviously discussion was there. Without discussion, you cannot pass question 1. So goodwill along with calculation. And the most importantly, in goodwill calculation, there was a contingent consideration that was tested here. So just one area and along with the goodwill. So you need to talk about the contingent consideration as well. Then guys, in part 2, there was a piecemeal acquisition. If you are acquiring a subsidiary in pieces, how would you calculate goodwill? How you would treat it in your financials? Then there was a partial disposal as well. So these were the areas that was tested in September 2018. In B part, there was IFRS 3 business combinations and IFRS 9 financial instruments. And in IFRS 9, there was a derecognition. So there will be consolidation along with some IFRSs. So here, the examiner tested IFRS 9 derecognition areas. Okay. Then December 2018, guys, the examiner asked about the cash flows. Obviously, if the cash flows is there, then the examiner is not going to ask you to calculate goodwill. He is not going to ask you to treat how the things are being treated in income statement. Obviously, it's a cash flow, and that's it. It's a consolidated cash flows. So statement of cash flows was required. You need to prepare some of the areas of cash flows, and you need to explain. Explanation was there, guys. Explanation would be there. Then in B part, the examiner tested about IFRS 5 discontinued operations. So there was an operation, and the examiner asked whether it should be classified as discontinued operation or not. Then the examiner asked about the probability criteria in framework. The examiner asked why there should not be a probability criteria. In other words, I can just relate that how the probability criteria are applied differently in different standards. So I'm giving you one example for your reference to make it a little bit irrelevant. Look, the recognition criteria in IS 16, we have recognition criteria that the cost can be measured reliably and inflow of economic benefits probable. So probability is the criteria in IS 16. Then guys, probability is the criteria in IS 40. Probability is the criteria in IS 41. So in recognition criteria, there are a lot of standards which take probability as a recognition criteria. Then guys, there are some standards which don't take probability as a recognition criteria. As per these standards, the probability is not the right thing to be in the recognition criteria. They thought it should be in measurement. What are those standards? The most important standards are IFRS 9 and IFRS 3, which is about business combinations. Obviously, the consolidation standard. These two standards don't take probability as the recognition criteria. While we will be talking about the question 1, we will discuss this thing as well. So guys, the examiner asks you to answer a question, how probability criteria is inconsistently being applied in the accounting framework. So you need to take these examples and you need to talk about that yes, there are certain standards which take probability as a criteria, and there are certain standards which don't take probability as the criteria. So that was the question, guys. So just on the probability criteria. Then guys, in March 19, the examiner asked about the foreign operations. Look, the examiner is very clear. In first part, he tested piecemeal acquisition, disposals. Then he tested cash flows. So what should be tested in the next area? All the areas have been tested. Now there was a foreign subsidiary. So the examiner asked foreign subsidiary. So IS 21 foreign currency, you need to determine the foreign currency, what was the functional currency of that company, you need to determine this, then you need to calculate foreign subsidiary goodwill, then you need to explain goodwill calculation as well. Obviously explanation would be there, guys. Without explanation, you cannot pass the exam. And then there was a disposal of foreign subsidiary. So disposal of foreign subsidiary was there. And what was in the question, we will talk later on while we will be talking about the question. This was March 19, guys. So 3 attempts, all the topics have been tested in these 3 attempts. Now, the examiner asked in June 19, consolidation, in which the most important area was that you were investing in subsidiary, and at the time of investment, you were calculating goodwill. And after that, there was a disposal of subsidiary. So disposal of subsidiary was there. Again, investment. If you are investing in a subsidiary, how to deal with that investment? Obviously, you are going to calculate goodwill at the date of acquisition. There was a business combination. So there was investments. Then guys, in B part, there must be some standard. And here the standard was IS 12, deferred taxation. Then there was a standard related to IFRS 16 leases as well, where he just asked you to about the recognition and measurement in holding company. So what was that in question? Obviously, we'll discuss in question 1. So guys, in September, the examiner asked IFRS 13. The first thing was the IFRS 13. So in part A, he just asked you guys to explain the fair value measurement of an intangible asset. There was an intangible asset and the examiner asked about the fair value measurement. So there was a shock in the exam for the students, because they usually get goodwill calculation, cash flows, foreign subsidiary, or the consolidation parts in A1. But in the question, there was the first part, which was from IFRS 13. But in part B, the examiner asked you to calculate goodwill again, and where the examiner asked about both goodwill, fair value, if NCI is measured at fair value and NCI is measured at proportionate. It means the examiner asked the candidates to calculate partial goodwill as well as full goodwill. So both goodwill were asked. But the most interesting thing was that the IFRS 13 was for 5 marks. That was for 5 marks. And the calculation for goodwill was only for 3 marks. And the candidates were surprised to see that the goodwill is only for 3 marks. They were very disappointed in this attempt as well. Then the examiner asked you to apply an impairment test on subsidiary. This is really an important area, impairment test on subsidiary. So you must be able to apply an impairment test on subsidiary. If it's a partial goodwill, obviously there is a little difference. And if it's a full goodwill, there is a difference. So in part B, the examiner asked you as candidates to apply an impairment test. Then guys, what was next? In December 2019, it was consolidated financial statements, simple calculations, okay, then goodwill calculations and IFRS 13. And you can see that the IFRS 13 is very much important standard, because it was asked in 2019 and again it was asked in December 19. So examiner is very clear. If he has set us question in 1 attempt, and the students were unable to answer it properly, student was not able to answer it properly, majority students fail in that part of the question, the examiner is going to test it again. So here was the IFRS 13 area. So it means if examiner has tested some areas in the recent attempt, it doesn't mean that the examiner is not going to test it in upcoming attempt. So it could be tested in upcoming attempt as well. So guys, then look, now there was 3 attempts that the foreign subsidiary was not being asked. Then again he asked in the examiner asked foreign subsidiary, and the question was very similar, very much similar, obviously with the little differences. Exactly, if someone has attempted this March 19 question, he was able to answer it properly. So IFRS 3 business combination was there, foreign subsidiary was there, and how to consolidate a foreign subsidiary, obviously goodwill, how to translate their financials, obviously these were areas was there. And then the examiner asked about IFRS 9 financial instruments, and the examiner asked candidates to apply an impairment test on financial assets. Then guys, in September-December attempt, the examiner asked about the consolidation, which was cash flows and cash flows. So guys, the cash flows and the foreign subsidiary was tested in June 20 and September 20. So it means you can think about the area that could be tested here. So I can't say anything about that, what would be tested in the upcoming exams, but obviously if anything can be tested, so you should prepare all the areas like cash flows, piecemeal acquisition, disposal of subsidiary, and the foreign subsidiary. You should be able to explain, and you should be able to prepare these extracts related to these topics. So guys, this was question 1, past paper analysis. Now in question 2, this is the question 2, and this is our today's topic. We will be discussing question 2 in today's session. So what was in September 2018, guys? Obviously there would be a standard. Look, IFRS 36 was there, okay, and ethics would be here, obviously it would be here. Then the examiner asked IS 40 and IFRS 15 with ethics. Then the examiner asked IS 19 with ethics, IS 12 with ethics, and ethics was there. Then share-based IFRS 2, IS 24, IFRS 8 with ethics. Then examiner asked 24, IS 32 classification, IS 12, and impact on gearing with ethical issues. Now the impact on gearing is interpretation. Interpretation could be asked in question 1, question 2, but in majority situations interpretation would be in question 3 or 4. Then guys, the examiner asked IS 16 about the IS 16 and ethics. Ethics would be there, obviously it would be there. Then examiner again asked about the provisions 37 and ethics, and in the September-December attempt, the examiner asked about the business combinations, IFRS 9 along with ethics. So guys, the standards would be there. Standards would be there. Obviously, some areas, some subtopics of the standards would be tested along with the ethics. And this is our today's session. On our today's session will focus on question 2, guys. So we'll see some of these questions, how these questions were tested in the exam. Now guys, in question 3 there were a lot of standards. I'm not going to waste any time on these areas. You can see what has been tested here, but obviously while we were talking about question 3, I'll come again to this area, and we will discuss what has already been tested and what are the remaining topics. Now guys, for you guys, I just assembled some repetitive topics, the topics that were tested, that are being tested again and again. So I've just collected these topics for you guys. So guys, consolidation, ethics, and interpretation would be there, and it's a compulsory topic. These topics would be there, and obviously these were tested in all the 8 attempts. I've just gathered 8 attempts, and in all 8 attempts, consolidation, ethics, and interpretation was there. And the most important thing is that IS 36 was there as well. Like just one just one time that the examiner didn't test it, IS 36. Otherwise, almost in every attempt, this was the area that was being tested. So I'm going to give you a tip here, and the tip is that examiner is going to ask impairment in each and every paper of SBR. It means the impairment would be in your upcoming exams. But what does it mean impairment would be there? Impairment is in different standard size. Impairment is applicable. Impairment is a concept that actually belongs to different IFRSs. It is the topic that is applied in different standards in a different way. What does it mean? Like the first thing that we usually read about impairment is IS 36, which is impairment of non-current assets, usually property, plant and equipment and intangible assets. So this is IS 36. Examiner is going to test IS 36, the first area. If the examiner is not testing IS 36, then examiner will test IFRS 9 impairment test, financial assets impairment test, IFRS 9. Then guys, after IFRS 9, if the examiner is not asking you to apply an impairment of IFRS 9, then the examiner will ask you to apply an impairment test of IS 12, which is deferred taxation. And there is impairment test as well, by the way. And what is that impairment test? That is that you cannot recognize the deferred tax asset over and above the availability of future profits. Deferred tax asset can only be recognized up to availability of future profits. So examiner is going to test this area, availability of future profits. If by any chances the examiner didn't test this IS 12 as well, then the examiner is going to test, guys, IS 2 impairment test, inventory. And what is that impairment test? In inventory, we usually carry inventory at lower of cost and NRV. So if this NRV is lower, it means there is an impairment test, there is an impairment loss. Then the examiner will ask you to apply inventory impairment test. And the last area where this impairment can be tested is IFRS 5. In IFRS 5, you need to apply an impairment test. Obviously, on IFRS 5, IS 36 won't be applicable. So IFRS 5 compare carrying value with the fair value less cost to sell, because you are going to sell the asset, so it's asset held for sale, so they compare fair value less cost to sell. So guys, impairment test would be there, and the only attempt where IS 36 was not being asked was the area where IFRS 9 impairment test was being asked. So impairment would be there in the exam, in every exam of SBR, the impairment would be there. So there's no such SBR paper where you won't find an impairment. So the most important area is you must be able to explain the impairment of all these standards as well. Then I would talk about the last impairment, which is in IS 19, and it was an asset ceiling test. The asset ceiling test in IFRS 10, IFRS 19 is actually an impairment test on net pension asset. So guys, these are the impairment tests that are available in different standards, and these will be tested in your exam as well. Maybe 36, maybe IFRS 9, maybe IS 12, maybe IS 2, maybe IS 19, maybe IFRS 5, but it would be there, guys. Then guys, IFRS 15 was there for 6 times. IS 19, IFRS 9, 37 was there 47. So in my opinion, the most important standards are IS 37, basic standard, but would be there in the exams, and IS 36. These are the most important areas for me. Okay, guys. Next, guys, IFRS 13, 21, IFRS 11 was 3 times there. Then we have IFRS 16, 5, 16, 24, 32, and cash flows 2 times. And there are certain topics that were tested just 1 time. And there are certain areas which are not being tested yet. IS 41, this is excluded from IFRS, excluded from SBR syllabus, but they consider that it's an assumed knowledge. If you have studied it, if you have discussed it, if you have learned it in financial reporting paper, which is the previous paper of SBR, then they consider that it's an assumed knowledge that you are well aware of IS 41 as well. Then IS 20 and IFRS 7 is not yet being tested. So it means these standards, so most importantly, IS 20 and IFRS 7 could be tested in your exams or maybe in the summer attempts, but it would be there. So we have IFRS 7 question as well. One question is available, and in majority situations, examiner test areas which the examiner has already tested in the previous exams. It means there are actually repetitive topics, repetitive questions. So if you have a good practice, if you have studied the textbook, then it means you won't find anything new. And if you still find new things after doing a lot of practice of past papers, after doing lots of questions from the exam kits, which could be BPP or Kaplan kit, then it means that you haven't studied yet technical articles. Guys, in every exam, there will be 70 to 80% paper which has been tested before. Like the questions being asked, the areas being asked has already been tested in the exams. So if you have a practice, you would be able to solve 70 to 80% paper. But if you find like 20 to 30% paper new, and you find that I didn't practice it, I didn't read it in the study text, then it means it would be from technical articles. So my last tip, while I'm talking about these areas, is that you must read technical articles, and you will find 10 to 15 marks, 20 marks from the technical articles. So in the upcoming days, while we will be talking about what you guys should do in the upcoming 2 weeks, you must be reading technical articles as well, along with the revision of all the areas. Then guys, passing percentages was around 50, but now in recent attempt, it has decreased to 44%. People are talking about that there are various reasons. And one of the reasons that I just want to mention here is the speed issue, the typing speed issue, that the people are finding problems while they are typing their answers, while they are constructing their answers. So there is the typing speed issue. So this is the issue. One of the issues that people consider that the result is not good just because of this. So guys, you should practice some questions where you should write you should write the answer of a whole question. You should practice lots of questions on the ACCA practice platform where you actually be typing the questions. Otherwise, it would be difficult to complete the exam. Then guys, after this passing rates, I'm going to talk about the reasons of failure. And this is the most important slide till now. So this is the key, how to pass the exams, and just try to overcome the reasons, guys. Just try that these reasons actually won't create any problem for your success. So let's see, guys, okay, what are the reasons of failure? So reasons of failure is, the first is, which is obvious reason for every paper, that is lack of knowledge. It means what is being tested, you don't know that thing. So the first reason is obvious reason, that is lack of knowledge. But if you have knowledge, then what is the problem? So this is just one problem of failure. If you don't have a knowledge, then obviously you will fail the exam. But if you have knowledge, why you are failing, these are the reasons, guys. that you have sufficient knowledge to pass, but still you are unable to manage to get through the exams, to get the success in SBR. So these are the reasons which are very important. So the first reason, which is very important for the examiner as well as for me, that the answer is very general. If you just writing, presenting your answers, and you are just presenting rote learned summary of the accounting standard, you won't be able to pass the exam. So there is IS-20, there is a requirement on IS-24, and you just explain the whole IS-24, the related party. You won't find passing marks, guys. Maybe you find just 1 or 2 marks out of 5, out of 7, out of 8, but you won't be able to pass the exam. So the most important tip is, don't present a rote learned summary of accounting standard. Then what to do? Obviously, the reasons are here. The second reason, that is, candidates have knowledge, but fail to apply in a given scenario. But he is unable to apply it in a scenario, and this is the major. And where if you ask some students who have failed the exam, if you ask them, they'll tell you the reason was candidates that I have knowledge, but maybe sometimes, usually I found problem to apply it in a given scenario. So we will learn this, that how to apply that knowledge in a given scenario. We'll learn this technique and through questions as well. So, and we will try that. We will find how to write the relevant. So guys, third reason is candidates do not appreciate the logical development of accounting treatment. It means you tell them what is the accounting treatment, but actually the examiner don't find a logic in that because you didn't develop that logic. What does it mean? That you didn't develop that logic. The accounting treatment is correct, but your answer is not up to the par. I would say that it's a weak answer. Maybe you get 50, maybe you get 45, but there is no logical development. And we will work on this logical development. And guys, if you ask me what is this logical development in here and how we can develop is, then the answer is that you must explain why you are treating it and how you find that you should treat this. So means you must be able to demonstrate your ability to explain why and how an accounting treatment is recommended. You need to tell the examiner that why I'm recommending this. Obviously, you will find something from the question, some lines from the question, some lines are there, some data, some information is there in the question. So you need to use that information in your answer, and you need to tell the examiner that this is the reason that I'm suggesting this is the accounting treatment. So this is something that actually majority students lack while they appear in SBR exam. So if you want maximum marks, you want to pass this paper in 80s, in 90s, or you want to be a distinction holder worldwide or nationwide, then your answer must have this why and how element. You have to use information given in the scenario to tell the examiner that this is the reason that I'm suggesting this accounting treatment. But if you are not using that information, you have correctly tell them that what is the accounting treatment, then you won't find appropriate marks. Maybe you get through in 50s, but actually you are lacking something, and that is obviously how to relate your knowledge in the exam. How to relate your knowledge to the scenario, this is something. And obviously if you pick some lines from the question and you just try to use those lines in your answer, then your answer would be the best answer in all SBR candidates. So this is, guys, important, why and how you are telling the examiner that this is the accounting treatment. Obviously you're going to use the information from the scenario, so use some information from the given question. This is the tip. This is the important thing that you need to understand. Then and one of the reasons that you find the people in the people who are good in class, who are participating in the class, who are attempting all the tests, and they are going through all the tests and they are passing through the test, but they usually fail in the exam. So the most important reason is they fail to complete 100% exam. And if they fail to complete 100% exams, then obviously it would be difficult to pass exams. I know many people who fail due to this, just due to this reason, that they were unable to pass to complete the 100% paper, 100% exam. So obviously they were fail in their attempts. So what is the tip to pass to complete 100% exam? So here is the most important line: how you can ensure that you have attempted 100 marks. So my first advice is, listen carefully, guys. Obviously it would not work for everyone. If you are comfortable with other sequence, then you can go for with other sequence as well. Guys, the tip is, don't attempt question 1 first. Don't attempt question 1 first. Guys, the question 1 will be from cash flows, will be from consolidation areas. There would be some standards. So usually people are good in these areas. Usually people are good in question 1. Usually they get majority of their marks from question 1. But because they are good in this, so they usually waste a lot of their time in question 1, waste lots of their time on question 1. So I know many people who waste 1 hour, 1 and 15 hours, 1 and even 1.5 hour on question 1. So guys, if you're wasting your 1.5 hour, your 1 hour on this part of the question, then obviously it will create a problem in question 2 and 3. So, but if you are comfortable, you have lots of practice of question 1 on the ACCA practice platforms, then obviously you can go for the question 1. Otherwise, it's better to solve first question 2. It would be an easy question, then question 3 and 4, then come back to question 1. So this is something that actually works for many people who actually were unable to attempt 100% exams. So this is my just a tip. If you are comfortable with question 1, you can go for question 1. But we have many people here, like we have 250 to 30 candidates here right now who are listening me. Majority of them, if they have failed this exam previously, they are repeating this exams. One of the reasons would be this, and in majority will find that the reason was actually this, that they spend around 1 hour and 15 minutes on this question. So they were in a hurry while solving question 2 and 3. So one thing that is important is, don't waste your time, your precious time, on question 1 only. Okay, just spread your time on all the questions, okay, according to the marks available. Then second tip is, guys, there are multiple requirements. There are multiple requirements in the question. Carefully understand all the requirements. There are multiple requirements, there are sub requirements. So in each requirement, there are actually 2 requirements. So just try to divide your requirements into multiple requirements and be clear that what examiner is actually asking. And the most important thing is that there are certain hidden requirements as well. There are hidden requirements in SBR. And what are these hidden requirements, guys? This is not in the required section. This hidden requirements will not be in the requirement section. While you will be dealing with the information given in the question, while you will reading the information given in the question, the examiner will say the directors are unsure how to treat this item. Directors are unsure, accountant is unsure how to treat this particular item. That is your hidden requirement, guys. You have to answer this requirement as well. So if in the exam, in any question, the examiner has this line in the question that the directors are unsure about this treatment, this is your hidden requirement, and you need to answer this requirement as well. So if you will divide your requirements into multiple requirements, into sub requirements, then you would be able to solve 100% papers. Otherwise, you would think that you have attempted 100% marks, but actually you didn't, because you have left many sub requirements, many hidden requirements, and maybe you have just attempted 85, 88, but actually you think that you have attempted 100% papers. So guys, there must be you need to focus on the requirements of the exams, and we will be talking about the requirements. You will see, while I will be solving the question, I will divide the requirements into sub requirements, and I will do it carefully, that I'm reading the requirement, so I need to understand what is the requirement. So guys, we all know that if we have 25 marks question, then for each marks we have 1.8 minutes per mark. We have 1.8 minutes per mark. So guys, this will give, I think majority people are sleeping, so give me the answer of this. So how many minutes are available to solve 25 marks question, guys? So I'm just waiting for the answers. Thank you so much. So it means we will have 45 marks. We will have 45 marks to solve this question. Thank you so much. Okay. If we have 45 marks, 45 minutes to solve this question, carefully divide these 45 minutes into reading the scenario, then plan your answer. Divide your 45 minutes into plan, how that you need to spend some time on planning. Obviously, you need to read the question, then you need to plan your answer. And people usually don't give time to this part. And then write. You need to write. You need to construct your answer after this. You need to write. Look, if you would not focus on this area, then it means you will write irrelevant information. You are going to write lots of irrelevant thing, and it will create a problem to get the better marks, as well as it will create a problem to solve the question in 45 minutes. So guys, plan your answer. You need to spend some time on the planning, that what I'm going to write, what I'm not going to write. So you need to plan your answer. So how can I help you guys to plan your answer? How can I help you to plan your answer? Okay, right now I'm just giving you a journal tip that you can apply in all question 2, 3, 4, 5. But after that, we'll be talking about the planning as well. Guys, in this practice to pass session, I'm not going to revise each and everything, but actually I'm going to focus on the exam techniques, that what you actually be doing in the exam, what you should do in the exam in order to get the better chances of success. So I will help you to plan your answer. We will solve questions and we will plan and we will discuss constructively that what should be written in the exam, what should not be written in the exam. Okay, while I will be solving the question, I will not revise the whole standard. What I'm going to do, I'll revise just the relevant areas. That's it. So from that, you'll get the idea that there's no need to write the whole standard. There is no need to think about the whole standard. You need to write just one thing. But as a journal principle, what I'm going to suggest you guys, listen carefully. This is important, guys. This is the most important thing that I'm talking about. So listen carefully. in exam, your first paragraph, if you have a standard on any standard, your first para should be knowledge from standard. Just one paragraph. Don't write 3 to 4 paragraphs. There is no need to write the rote learned material. You can't write the rote learned summary of accounting standards. You won't get any marks. You just need to write one paragraph on your knowledge summary, that you know what is the treatment, what is the IFRS requirement about this thing. You just need to write in one paragraph, just 3 to 4 lines, maximum 3 to 4 lines, guys. Okay, first. But in this answer, you need to use the company name. You need to use company name. Like the first question today, which we will be solving, is on impairment. So you would not say that impairment loss is the loss which arises due to excess in carrying value of asset over its recoverable value. Whenever there is an excess of carrying value over recoverable value, there is an impairment loss. We are not going to write this. Look, I'm just revising a little knowledge. We have a carrying value of 200 and we have a recoverable value of that asset, which is 150. So what is the definition of impairment loss? Excess of carrying value. If your carrying value is in excess from the recoverable value, then you have impairment loss. This is the definition of impairment loss. So you don't need to write it journal. Use the company's name. So what you will write the company, whatever is the name of that company. So you will write the company. Just assume that the company name is Superman. Superman need to recognize an impairment loss if asset. Now just pick the name of the asset. Just name the, guys, just name the asset as well. Like if in the question there is an intangible asset, you will talk about the intangible asset. If there is a property, plant and equipment, you will talk about the property, plant and equipment. So intangible assets, property, plant and equipment. If you are talking about plant, you will use the plant. You will, if you are talking about the building, you are going to use the building. That's it. So what I'm going to write now. So Superman, which is company's name, Superman will recognize an impairment loss on intangible asset if carrying value of intangible asset exceeds its recoverable value. So this is how you are going to write your knowledge from the standard in first paragraph, using the company name, using the asset's name. You need to use this, guys. Otherwise you won't find any marks, guys. Maybe 1 mark if you're writing this, that what is impairment loss, how to recognize, when to apply an impairment test, what are the indications. If you are writing them, the examiner is not going to give you even passing marks. So guys, you need to write the relevant. Okay, now one more example. So this is the journal point. Then we will talk about each question as individually as well, because we will be solving question 2 style questions, question 1 style questions. Then guys, what is next? One of the students is asking, will the video available to view after the webinar end? Yes, the videos would be available. Next, guys, what is next? Listen carefully right now. So this is the first paragraph. I'm just giving you another thing, and that is, if examiner has given you, in order to apply an impairment test, you need an indication of impairment loss. If you have some indication of impairment loss, then you need to apply an impairment test. If there is an indication that you need to apply an impairment test, otherwise there is no need to apply an impairment test, except 3 assets, which we'll talk later on. So guys, listen carefully. If there is an indication given, there is no need to write that IFRS IS 36 requires entities to apply an impairment test if there are indications. and indications are of two types, external, internal, and these are the internal indications and these are the external, and you are giving the list of these indications, and you are just wasting your time, because rote learned summary of accounting standards won't give you enough marks to pass. You will fall between 40 to 50, between 40 to 50, guys, and you would be unable to pass the exam if you are just writing, because you are wasting your time on the areas that have no marks, that carries no marks, and you are actually leaving a bad impression on the examiner as well, that what are you doing, and you won't be able to pass, you to complete 100% exam. So this is the first tip. So how to write them, how to write, how we can write. Look, I will write IS 36, I will write my knowledge from the accounting standard, but very relevant, relatable. It must have why and how from the question. So listen carefully. Okay, I just found two reasons. I just found two reasons. Okay, I will talk about those two reasons. I'll pick those reasons from the question, and I'll use the copy paste function, guys. That function is very important to use in the exam. We will use that copy paste function. I'll copy those indications from the question, and I will write, listen carefully what I'm writing. I'm writing, there's this indication, this point are the indications of impairment. So as per IS 36, Superman, which is company's name, have to apply impairment test on this intangible asset. Look, I've just given them the indications from the question. I'm writing that you need to apply an impairment test if there is an indication, but very relevant, guys. I'm not giving them the list that what are the internal indications, what are the external indications. So the most important area, guys, you need to write first paragraph on your knowledge, but actually you are going to use that, use company names, assets names given in the question, and you are going to use the data given in the question to reflect your knowledge that what should be the treatment. So this is the first paragraph. Then second paragraph would be conclusion, that you will say that yes, the company need to apply an impairment test, and this is how the impairment test should be applied, and the company should recognize this impairment loss, whatever is the value. So this is how you are going to solve, guys. If you find some problems, listen carefully. If you find some problems in order to relate something, then just try to use the company name, assets name, and just write journal areas, but try to make it more specific by using company name, assets name again. So this is the tip, guys. So plan your answer, that what you are going to write. Look carefully, listen carefully. Now I'm just going to solve the question, and I will be solving. I'll help you to plan your answers, and we will together we will plan first our answer, and then we will write. Then we will solve. We'll be solving the question, and just try to do the questions in this way, guys. So these are the reasons of failure, and just try to overcome these reasons in order to get the better chances of success, guys. Now, guys, if you have, okay, I'm just not taking questions, although the questions are open in front of me. So I'm just take some time, and then I'll take the questions, guys. So guys, must do in last 2 weeks. So this is the area. We have almost 2 weeks. So what you should be doing in last 2 weeks? You must be reading technical articles, guys. Today we will be covering question 2. Today we will be covering question 2, guys, and question 2 is from ethics. And on ACCA website there is a technical article on ethics. There is one technical article on ethics, so that is really important. So you must be reading that ethics portion, okay, that technical article too. And again, each area has some technical articles. Some areas have 3 technical articles, some areas have 4 technical articles. So technical articles, you should be reading 1 technical article in a day, okay. Then guys, you must be attempting some questions on ACCA practice platform. You should attempt some questions on the ACCA practice platform. I'm going to solve the questions on the practice platform as well in this session. So you should be solving the questions on ACCA practice platform to get so that you became used to it. So attempt some questions on ACCA practice platform, sir. Then just try to learn advantages and disadvantages of each IFRS and IS. If there are certain advantages and disadvantages of ISs, you must be reading those advantages and disadvantages. Then, how each IFRS IS help investors in their decision making. I just talked earlier that if you are recognizing something, if you are measuring something, if you are presenting or disclosing something, it will help investors to analyze the company. So you must be able to understand that how a particular standard is going to help to the investors. You must be able to do that in order to solve the interpretation question. So for interpretation. So you must be doing these things, guys, in the upcoming 2 weeks. And obviously, you must you have to revise all the areas as well. So this is the must do in last 2 weeks, guys. Now, guys, we are moving towards question 2. I'll revise quickly. I'll revise the information that is required to solve the question, and then we will spend lots of time to plan our answer, to think about how to write the answer, and we will discuss each and everything, that what to write and what not to write, and we will constructively be doing this. I'll take your inputs as well. So guys, question 2, but till now I am taking questions. So if I have missed some of the questions, so please copy and paste it again, and so that I can answer them. So guys, okay, we have one question, which is, what does conclusion refer to in the format? So what is the conclusion? If you are answering a question, then what is the conclusion? Conclusion is the exact accounting treatment. Exact accounting treatment. What should be the accounting treatment in that situation? So exact accounting treatment is your conclusion, but you need to build, you need to develop points in order to reach that conclusion. And that for examiner, that discussion is really important. For examiner, that discussion is really important. So it means if your conclusion is wrong, but your development of that, your developing points, the points that you are discussing in your answer are right, you will get majority of the marks. So as a student, you must not be worried about the conclusion, whether you are writing the right conclusion, right accounting treatment, or the wrong accounting treatment. So the right or wrong won't carry much marks. Actually, the majority marks are on the discussion area, how you discuss the points, that how you reach at your conclusion. So that will carry marks, guys. Okay, so I have answered this. Please do let me know if you are okay with it. So next, then we have another question. Is there any? We have another question. Is there no point in writing full and exact definition of relevant standards? You can write exact definition, but don't waste lots of time on writing the standard. Okay, just try to use the company name. Obviously, you will write the standard, but using company name, using assets in the question. If you have some values, to just try to incorporate those values in your definition. But yes, you can write first paragraph from the standard, but don't write 3 to 4 paragraphs on the standards. Then we have another question, that can the discussion of the answer includes multiple standards? Would they require multiple knowledge paragraphs? Yes. Yes. Discussion will be on multiple standards, and each standard will require a separate paragraph. You need to divide. Actually, when we are talking about the plan your answer, obviously you need to plan this thing, that how much paragraphs I'm going to write on first standard if there are multiple standards, how much I'm going to write on this standard, how much I'm going to write this standard. So this is something that actually you will consider in your planning phase. So yes, for each standard you need to separate paragraph, but yes, if the treatment is very simple, then you can write in one line as well in the big paragraphs. But just try to write separate paragraphs on each standard. Sir, can we carry a calculator while appearing in the CB exams? I think yes, but please confirm it from the ACCA staff as well. Will the video available to view after the webinars? And yes, the videos would be available. Sir, do we need to remember the standard numbers? No, we don't need to remember the standard numbers. It carries no marks. And even if you write the wrong number, the examiner is not going to mind it. So examiner is not going to deduct any marks. So actually you don't need to remember the standard number. Then we have, is it compulsory to write definitions from the standards that we can write from our own words by retaking the scenario? Yes, we can write. Actually, Zoeb, you will write it in your own words. There is no no need to write it from the standards wording. Okay, so you will always write it in your words. So do we need to remember the standard numbers? No. Then we have how to get the professional marks. We have 4 professional marks, guys. 2 on the question 2, which we will be talking in this session as well. So today we will be talking about the question 2 professional marks. So, sir, is the sitting only? So there is a question what we should be doing in the first 10 minutes in the exam. Obviously, you should be deciding that what question are you going to attempt. So just quickly go on through the video requirements and think that what actually are going to how you are going to solve the so you need to pick the question, which question you are actually going to solve. So we have some Mr. Zuhaib Bilal is how to ask from the tutor. Zuhaib, what do you want to ask, boy? Actually, so we have WhatsApp group as well. If you have some problem, you can ask it there as well. But right now, I'm not replying in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so after the group, after the session, you can ask whatever you want to ask in the group as well. Is that okay, Mr. Zuhaib Bilal? So okay, if it's not working, there's no issue. We will give you alternative method to join the group. So there's no worry at all. Okay, guys, there are lots of questions. We'll be talking about like some questions are on the current issues. So we'll be talking about the current issues in question 3 and 4, guys. So I think we should go towards the question 2 practice rather than to take these kinds of questions, which will be covered in tomorrow's session or day after tomorrow's sessions. So question 3, 4 will be discussed tomorrow, guys, and we will be talking about the current issues in tomorrow's session. Is that okay, guys? Okay. So, guys, now I'm going to yes, after I will share my WhatsApp number, so no worries. So let's start, guys. Yes, Ariba. Yes, you are right. So you can write the definition of standard in the first paragraph, and then you should be discussing discussing it with the values in the second paragraph. Okay. Is that okay, guys? Okay, guys, let's move towards the questions. Now will revise some of the knowledge that is required in question 2, and after this knowledge, we will be attempting question 2 from the past papers on ACCA practice platform, guys. So, guys, what will be in question 2? Obviously, there will be some IFRSs along with the ethics. So ethics will carry, guys, usually they will carry 8 to 10 marks. 8 to 10 marks, where 2 marks will be professional, where 2 professional marks will be available. Now we'll be talking about how to get these professional marks as well. And these professional marks are only available for the logical discussion, of your answer. And if someone is writing clear and relevant, then these 2 marks will be easily available, and that's it. So there is no particular points that you need to follow in order to get these 2 professional marks. These 2 professional marks will be available if you are developing your answers with the logical discussion. But now the question is how to develop a logical discussion. Obviously, we will be solving the questions and we will discuss this. So 2 marks are available for the logical discussion and clear and relevant answer, and that's it. If you are writing clear, relevant, and logical discussion through logical discussions, then it means you are good to go. So let's see, guys, what are the basic principles of ethics. I'll quickly revise these basic principles. If someone has some issues, then obviously he can ask the question, but now we are moving towards these slides. So guys, we know that the fundamental principles of codes are integrity. We need to keep the integrity intact while we are dealing in our professional lives. So integrity is, you need to be straightforward and honest in all professional and business relationships. Then the objectivity is, you shouldn't allow biasness, conflict of interest, or undue influence. You shouldn't take undue influence of others to override professional or business judgment. What does it mean, guys? If your senior, your boss, your directors are asking you to manipulate the financial, if they are asking you to manipulate the financial statements and you are willing to do that, it means your integrity and objectivity is being compromised, because you are not honest. So integrity is being compromised, and you have allowed undue influence to do the wrong accounting. It means objectivity is compromised as well. So integrity and objectivity will be compromised if you are willing to manipulate financial statements. What does it mean, manipulate? Means do the wrong accounting, doing the wrong treatments. So if you're ready to do that, it means integrity and objectivity is being compromised. But if in the question your boss, your directors, your CFOs are pressurizing you to manipulate the financial statements, but you actually are not manipulating, but you didn't manipulate it till now, then it means integrity and objectivity are in threat. It is not being compromised. It is not compromised yet, but it is in a threat. So if you had not yet manipulated the financial statements, then it means integrity and objectivity is in threat. Now listen carefully. Now we will talk about the logical discussion, clear and relevant answer. In first paragraph of question 2, guys, you will write this. If integrity is in threat, you will write about the integrity. You will write that the accountant, if you have the name of that accountant, then you should use the name of that accountant. This is something that is actually, this is something that you need to use in your answers in order to make it relevant and clear. So you need to use the name of that accountant, okay? So you are going to write the accountant must keep integrity intact. The accountant must respect integrity. Means the accountant need to be straightforward and honest in all professional and business relationships. So you are going to write this in your own words, but using the company accountant's name. So this is the first paragraph of question 2, guys. This is the first paragraph of question 2. If objectivity is being compromised in majority situations, both integrity and objectivity will be compromised, will be under threat simultaneously, because if someone is asking you to manipulate, it means you are taking undue influence, you are being biased in your professional judgments, and you are not honest as well. So you will talk about that the objectivity, that the accountant need to be objective in all its professional matters. So he should not allow biasness, conflict of interest, undue influence. So the first line should be this, guys. Are we clear till now that what would be the answer in this area, guys? Just do let me know. Thank you. Okay, someone is asking me to explain it again. Okay, yes, I can explain it again. Yes, please listen carefully. While you will be attempting ethics portion in question 2, the first thing that you need to write is this: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, confidentiality, and professional behaviors definitions. Straightforward. You need to write this. You will think you will learn from the question, you will understand from the question that what principles are being compromised, and then you will write this, that the accountant should respect integrity, objectivity. As a ACCA member, as a ACCA student, the accountant should keep the integrity and objectivity, and he should not allow biasness, conflict of interest, undue influence of others to override the professional behavior, professional and business judgments, and he should be straightforward and honest. You're just going to write this. And I was talking about when the integrity and objectivity will be under threat when someone is asking you to manipulate the financial statements to do the wrong accounting, then it means your integrity and objectivity is under threat. I hope I am clear enough right now. Gee, guys. So we have a question that if the accountant is not a member of ACCA or any other professional body, if he is not a member of any other party, then it doesn't mean he should not be ethical. So for being ethical doesn't mean you have to be a member of some body. So you won't write ACCA member, but if in the question it is written that the accountant is ACCA member, then you will write this. If it's not written, you won't write it that he must be, that ACCA members need to keep the ethical behavior. So everyone need to keep the ethical behavior. Okay. Yes. Okay. While you are answering the question, yes, you can use the abbreviation as well. There's no issue at all. But at least once you should write that I will call other comprehensive income as OCI. Yes, you can use the abbreviations, but at least once you should write like I just want to use the OCI word, which is other comprehensive income. So I should write first time other comprehensive income, and in bracket I should write OCI. Then yes, we can use the abbreviation. There is no issue in it. Then guys, the third point is professional competence and due care. So every accountant must have a knowledge and skill that is required to perform the task. So must have a professional competence. So if someone is saying that they have no knowledge about something, it means there is a problem of professional competence. So in the question, accountant is saying that I don't know the accounting treatment, some director is saying that I don't know about this particular area, then you would say that the accountant or the director is not professionally competent. So he must be professionally competent, and he must have some knowledge and skill that is required to perform his task. So this is the professional competence. So first paragraph would be on professional competence, where you will be advising to the accountant that you should keep the professional competence and due care. And obviously, this professional competence and due cares can be created through the training, through continuous professional development programs. So you can do that. Then guys, confidentiality. You should respect the confidentiality of information acquired as a result of professional business relationship, and you should not use either for your own benefit or for your friend's benefit or for any other person's benefit. You shouldn't use that information unless there is a legal requirement or you are allowed to do that. So you must keep the confidentiality. And the last one is, guys, that there must be a professional behavior. And the professional behavior is you need to comply with all the relevant laws and regulations. And in our case, laws and regulations are IFRSs. It means if someone is not following IFRS, it means the professional behavior are in threat or the professional behavior is being compromised. In majority situations, these three principles will be breached simultaneously. While you are manipulating financial statements, you are thinking to manipulate, you are being pressurized to manipulate the financial statements. Obviously, integrity, objectivity, and professional behavior are under threat. So guys, you need to pick the point that which fundamental principle of being of this code are under threat. So first paragraph should be that you need to talk about this basic principle in a straightforward line, but obviously you should use the name of that accountant, so it will make it more relevant. So guys, first thing, you will get the professional marks if you are writing the first paragraph, this one, obviously some of the professional marks. Then the first paragraph would be here, guys. So I hope you are making notes that first paragraph in question 2 would be straightforward discussion on the basic principles of ethics. You're just going to use the accountant's name, and you can just pick one of the situation that why you are thinking that integrity and objectivity is being compromised. Okay, so now the second paragraph, if you are just writing straight using the accountant's name, then the second paragraph, guys, second, this is important, guys, this is important. So we are talking about the question 2, and we are talking about the question that actually you are going to solve in the exam. So guys, what is next? This is important. Okay guys, now second paragraph should be, the first paragraph is very straightforward. Second paragraph should be on threats to ethical behavior. So your answer must have, there is no need to write what is self-interest, there is no need to write what is familiarity threat, there is no need to write what is intimidation threat, there is no need to write self-review advocacy, there is no need to write. But you need to identify that which of the following is the threat in your question. So identify the threat and talk about that threat, that why you are thinking that the accountant or the person in the question is in ethical dilemma. So this is the threat to the ethical behavior. So you need to identify this threat. If you didn't identify this threat, then your answer is not logical. You won't get proper marks, and even the professional marks, you won't get the professional marks as well, because your answer is not logical. You are not relating your knowledge, you are not relating your answers with this question. You need to identify the threat, guys. Why the person in the question is motivated to do the wrong accounting, to do the manipulation? Why? You need that reason. You need to write this reason, guys. So identify the threat, why there is the ethical dilemma. Now you must be thinking, how can you identify that why there is the ethical issue? How can you identify? So I'm going to help you guys here. Obviously, you will be having self-interest, familiarity threat, intimidation threat, some of the threats, but I have gathered some of the points for you guys to make it easy for you guys to identify that what is the threat, actually what is the threat. So guys, what is the threat? So why there is ethical dilemma or ethical issue? So listen carefully. So guys, these are the reasons, these are the common reasons that you will find in question 2. The first one is self-interest, guys. Self-interest is that employees have bonus based on the profits or some ratios. So if employees have bonus based on profits, so he's motivated to manipulate this profit. He's motivated to manipulate this profit. He's going to manipulate profits. They are motivated to do the wrong accounting because they want bonus targets to be met. So this is the self-interest. So if something is written in the question, you need to pick, you need to write some 1-2 lines that in which you are going to tell the examiner that this is why they are encouraged, they are motivated, they have incentive to manipulate the profits. So you must have to pick the reason why they are motivated to do the unethical things. Next, guys, maybe they have maybe their boss or their director have committed a promotion, or they have some threats on the job security. If you will not do this accounting, if you will not manipulate the profits or some other assets, liabilities, then obviously your job is in threat. So it means for an accountant, there is a self-interest. He wants job security, he wants promotion, or he wants profits based on target on profit. So obviously he's motivated to manipulate the profit. So there must be some reasons that why they are motivated to manipulate the financials. Then guys, maybe there are some loan covenants. Maybe loan covenants. What does it mean? Maybe they have some loan covenants. It means loan covenants are certain conditions attached with the loan. If a company has acquired a loan, has borrowed money from someone, usually lenders, the person who is actually providing cash, usually put some conditions. We call them loan covenants. We call them loan covenants. These loan covenants must be met. If the loan covenants are breached, are not being met, then the lender will ask his money back. He'll ask immediate repayment. So the company accountants are motivated to keep these loan covenants intact. They don't want them to be breached. So they will manipulate the financials. So if there is something in the question, you need to give them the reason. Then guys, what is next? This is the question. Yes, particularly we need to talk about the ethical threats. So intimidation threat, guys, new in the company. If you are new in the company, your boss is ordering you to do something unethical. Obviously, you are intimidated by that time. So you would be encouraged to do that. So you are in ethical dilemma. Then familiarity threat is if your brother, father, friend, or your relative is asking you, you have a professional development, you are working for such a company, or you are an auditor of such a company where your brother, father, or friend is working, then obviously you have some sympathy with them for them. So it means it will create a threat for your basic principles of ethics. Then guys, the last one is advocacy threat, and that threat is if you are representing your company somewhere in some litigations, in loan applications, or in stakeholders meeting, obviously you will be biased and you will be telling some facts and figures that are actually not true, and just to tell them that we are good companies who give us loan, invest in our company, or to just you want some relaxation from the litigations. So you will be biased towards doing this. So you need to write the threat, guys. So there must be second paragraph where you will be writing that why you are considering that this person in the question is under threat. It is in the ethical dilemma. There is an ethical issue. So guys, this is the second paragraph. If two or three fundamental, so we have a question. Well, okay, if two or three, if we have a question, guys, I'm reading the question. If two or three fundamental principles are being compromised, then we need to define every principle in first para. Yes, yes, Mr. Arham, you are right. Particularly, we will be asked to explain the ethical threats, as I have attempted few questions in which they just ask for ethical issues compromised. Kindly explain this. No, Aisha, you need to write the ethical threat. You need to write. Whether it is being asked or not, you need to relate your answer from the question. You need to pick this point, okay? Whether asked or not, you need to write this ethical threat. Then we have Mr. Zuhaib is asking if question demand us to treat situations this is not already treated or think of treating wrong, so it means that there will be no discussion of ethics. No, guys, there would be a situation if, look, if the person is already doing wrong, it means there is an ethical dilemma already there and he's being unethical. The accountant or the person in the question is already unethical. You will talk about that this is the unethical behavior, this is unethical behavior, this is unethical behavior. But normally this would not be the case. Normally the people were thinking about unethical behavior and examiner will ask you what to do in that situation. If he has already committed an unethical action, then obviously you won't say anything, you won't do anything. Your judgment is required when the person is thinking about that unethical behavior, and you will tell them that these are the principles that are going to be breached, so don't breach. You should respect these principles, and then you will tell in the second paragraph what are the threats available in the question due to which he is motivated, he is encouraged to do the wrong accounting. So can we link threat to principles? Yes, we need to link the threat to the principles. And then, guys, obviously, well, while you will be talking about threats, you will be linking those threats with the principles. So, guys, we are very clear in question 2 till now that we need to write the principles. First point, we need to write the principles. Simply, which principles are being compromised, you need to write the principles, okay? But obviously not the rote learning as it is. Just try to use the company name of that accountant, okay? Then you need to identify the threats. Obviously, maybe there are more than one threat, so identify threats. So you need to threats. Then you need to relate those threats with principles. Relate threats with principles, guys. So far, this is the answer plan. This is the plan. Actually, while you are planning your question 2, you will think that what are the principles breach. You will write somewhere, obviously in your answer screen, on your answer window, and then you will identify the threat. You will write that threat in your answer. Then you will try to relate those threats with the principles. Okay. Next, guys, what is next? Then sometimes the examiner would ask you to tell them why they should follow, why they should follow ethical behaviors. So the consequences of unethical behavior is another name of why people, any people, it's not compulsory that he should be a part of some body. So why people should be ethical, should exercise ethical principles in their decisions. Why people should be ethical? So this is the question sometimes examiners ask. So you would say that that the person should be ethical because there are certain consequences of being unethical, and the consequences are fines, loss of professional repute. Then maybe you are being prevented from being a director or officer of a public company. If someone found that you have committed unethical behavior, then obviously these are the issues that you will face, the consequences that you will face, and the possibility of being expelled by the professional accountancy body like ACCA. And if the person is not a member of any body, obviously this point is not relevant. Then prison sentence would also be a consequence for the person. Then guys, actions. Sometimes specifically examiner asks you what are the actions required if someone is in ethical dilemma, guys. If someone is in ethical dilemma, then what actions are required? Then that person should approach its immediate boss and remind them for the basic ethical principles and try to persuade them that I don't want this unethical behavior to be committed. Then try to communicate this matter to the higher management or committees within the organizations. You may wish to contact the ACC ethical helpline and take a legal advice before undertaking any further action. Use the resignation as a last resort. Please use this resignation is a last resort. First, you will advise them to do this, and as a last resort, you will ask them to use the resignation as a last resort. So guys, these are the things. Now, in your answer, there must be one more thing, and that is very important. So we are going towards the question. Now, there would be one more thing in your question. 4. If that this will only arise in a question where there is accounting manipulation. If they are doing accounting manipulation, then the 4th point will be there. Otherwise, this fourth point won't be there. Okay. So, guys, what is accounting manipulation? Obviously, they are doing wrong accounting. They are doing wrong accounting. So, what is next, guys? So, you need to relate the impact of wrong accounting, on threats. This is really important. On threats, which you have identified at point 2. Listen carefully, guys. What does it mean? Look, if they want profit targets to be being met in order to get the bonus, and they are asking you to create there is a provision that you need to create as per standard. So standard asks you to prepare provision for onerous contracts. The standard asks you to prepare to recognize the provision for warranty. The standard asks you to prepare to recognize the provision for refund, for dismantling, removing registration, for environmental and restructuring. So there are various things for which standards ask you to prepare provision, to recognize the provision. So if you recognize that provision, just assume that for 20 million, then your expense will decrease. Your expense will decrease, and obviously the profit targets won't met, and the people at the directors of the company or the accountants won't get any bonus. So if they are asking you not to recognize this provision, you will write this in the ethics portion that they are asking to manipulate the accounts by not recognizing this provision in order to increase the profits. So you need to relate what accounting manipulation is being proposed, you need to relate that accounting manipulation with your threat. Okay, let me give you another example. If you are asking for a loan application, okay, it means why you are manipulating, why you are telling them that we have more assets, we have a good liquidity position, we have good gearing ratio, we are not risky business. We are manipulating these values because you want a loan to be applied. So you need to write this, that what would be the impact. In majority situation, loan covenant is usually attached. One of the loan covenant would be a gearing ratio. So in majority situations, you will find them to hide their liabilities, because what is the gearing ratio? So liability, which is debt divided by debt plus equity. So, or debt equity ratio. So now if they are asking you not to recognize a liability, then you will tell them that by not recognizing a liability, they just want to ensure that the gearing ratio, the covenants are intact, they are not being breached. So you need to relate this wrong accounting treatment on threats. You need to write that what would be the impact on profits, what would be the impact on different ratios that actually are given in the questions. So you need to relate this, guys. So it would be this would be part 4. Then, guys, you need to give a conclusion. If someone is, if some other areas are being asked, like this, consequences and actions required, obviously we'll talk about those as well. Otherwise you will draft a conclusion in which you write that these principles are being, just a short summary, that these principles are being compromised, and these principles and they should not do this, and that's it. So guys, this is the way to solve the question on ethics. So just try to use these headlines, you try to use these points in your answer, and just try to cover these things in your answer. Now we have 5 points here. You can write 2 paragraphs, guys, here 3 paragraphs. You can write these 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. So I'm not saying that you must have 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, but actually you must have these areas in your answer. And you have, if you have these areas in your answer, you are relating very relevant. You are actually developing your answer in a logical sequence. You are using the information given in the question. You will get professional marks as well. But if these areas are missing in your answer, then obviously the two professional marks won't be available. So guys, this is the discussion till now. So now I'll take some questions and I'll move towards a question. So we will be solving some questions. I need to revise some of the topics as well. So let's see, guys. Okay, guys, I'm now taking questions. So let's see. Let's talk about it, guys. So I'm starting from the last question, which is from Fiza Aftab. Sir, when will you give us a break? Okay, we are just, we will have some break right now. Sir, will you share these slides after the webinars? Mr. Farhan Nazir, please, you can download these slides. There is a section for notes and handouts. You can download these slides from there as well. So you can do that. You can download. Otherwise, I will share in the WhatsApp group if you have joined that group. Can you give example again of relating threats with principles? Yes, Mr. Zuhaib. I think Mr. Zuhaib will give you examples in the question because it is being too theoretical that I'm talking and you are just trying to absorb these things. So I think we should solve a question and we should relate these things in the question rather than just talk about it. Okay, guys, then WhatsApp link is not working. Okay, we will fix that problem. group link sent, please. If you'll see the from in the chat box, you'll find the link shared by Almas. Then guys, my question is out of context, but you said we do impairment of deferred tax as well. Yes, we do impairment of deferred tax as well, because we need to check whether to recognize the full deferred tax asset, or we need to put a restriction on that deferred tax asset. So and the restriction is you can recognize the deferred tax asset up to availability of future profits. But that is in IS 12. Deferred tax is outside the scope of IS 36. Okay. Yes, Mr. Zubair, you can do that. So I'm going, guys, I'm going to share my number. You can message me. I'll add you in my WhatsApp group. So I'm sending a message. Right now, I'm unable to type anything. I don't know why, but I'll share my number. Okay, guys, I think we should have some break. And then we will be solving questions, and we will be using these tips and tricks in our exam questions in our practice. So let's have a break of 10 minutes, guys. So 10 minutes break. So guys, take 10 minutes break. So we will be starting exactly after 10 minutes, guys. Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and listening me clearly. So please guys do let me know, are you listening me clearly? Thank you Mr. Javed, thank you Rabia, thank you Mr. Amir, thank you Ritu, thank you Mr. Fule. Okay, so guys, this was all about the ethics area. Now we are going to solve a question from March-June 20 attempt, which is actually it's not March-June 20, it's 21 guys. It's March-June 21 question with the name Bismuth. So the question name was Bismuth guys, and the Bismuth company, in Bismuth company, we had 3 requirements. So I'll take you guys towards the ACCA practice platform as well. But first, I just want to revise the topics that are required to answer the question. So listen carefully, guys. So the first thing that was, what are the requirements of the standard? Okay. So the first requirement was impairment testing of minds. The examiner requires you to apply an impairment test of minds. And in this impairment test, you need to describe a decommissioning provision associated with Bismuth company's mines and its potential impact on the impairment of mines. So it means basically the question was on impairment, but yes, with impairment, the examiner tested decommissioning provision. So what is the knowledge required to apply this part of the question? So first I'm going to revise that knowledge. Now look, I can revise the whole IS 36. So impairment on mines is basically IS 36. So actually the question is on IS 36. I can revise the whole standard, but I'm not going to revise the whole standard. Just to let you know, guys, that the whole standard is not required in a particular standard. So if you are writing the whole standard, you are just wasting your time. Okay. And the most importantly, it was just for 5 marks. So for 5 marks, you cannot write the whole standard. So I'm going to revise the impairment IS 36 guys for this part. Then guys, the second part was class A and class B shares. There were 2 types of shares in the question, class A and class B shares. And the examiner asked you to explain the classification. So examiner asked about the classification of these shares. And there was some cryptocurrencies involved, but actually required was classification. Whether these shares should be classified as debt, means liability, or it should be classified as equity. This classification of financial instruments in issuers' books fall under IS 32. So we are going to revise this classification area as well. Guys, you guys will find lots of questions on classification in your exam kits, in your past papers. So this is one of the favorite area of examiner, because in classification you are deciding whether it's a debt or equity. It is going to impact on lots of ratios, and if you classified the debt as equity or equity as a debt, then obviously it will affect on many ratios like gearing ratios, return on equity ratios, then interest cover ratios. So it would impact on lots of ratios. It will give different view about the company's risk, because if you are treating debt as equity, it means you are understating your risk. Actually, your risk is more than you are presenting. So guys, the classification is an important area. Again, you have some marks here. Then in part B, the requirement was blockchain technology. So when we talk about blockchain technologies, many people know about what is blockchain technology, but majority people don't know what is blockchain technology. So examiner is very clear that if you don't know what is blockchain technology, then there is no problem, because actually nothing to worry about. You don't need to know the technology in order to comment on the ethical issues created by this technology. So ethical issues will be very clear. So you don't need to be technology expert. You don't need any knowledge of blockchain technology in order to answer this. So the blockchain technology was there, but you are not giving a treatment of blockchain technology. We are just talking about the ethical issues created by the implementation of blockchain technology. So actually the question was on ethics. So there's nothing to worry about. So don't be panic in the paper, guys, if there is something new and you don't know about that thing. So just stick to the plan. What do you know about the ethical issues? Just solve the question and go towards move towards the next question. Just jump into the next question. That's it. So guys, there was 3 requirements. Okay, so first requirement was because of, about the impairment of asset. So this was the requirement, and you can see the marks as well. I'm going to take you guys to the ACCA practice platform, but I just want to revise the content so that we can solve the question there. So discuss with suitable calculations. Look, if the examiner is asking you to discuss, so it means the discussion should be there. With suitable calculations, calculation should also be there. When whether Bismouth company should recognize an impairment loss for the mines. So he's asking you whether to recognize an impairment loss. So look carefully. I was talking about the multiple requirements in the requirements. So he's asking you to discuss with calculations. So you need to give the calculations. Whether should recognize an impairment loss, it means in your answer, there must be one line at the conclusion. Yes, they should recognize an impairment loss or not. Yet in your answer, there must be one line as a conclusion. The conclusion is that yes, Bismouth company should recognize an impairment loss, or maybe the answer should be Bismouth company should not recognize an impairment loss, because examiner is asking you whether Bismouth company should recognize an impairment loss for the mine. If you didn't answer this specific question, it means you will lose at least 1 mark. So he's asking you to whether to recognize it. So this is the requirement. Now we have one hidden requirement here, guys. Listen carefully. We have one hidden requirement as well. What is hidden requirement? Yes. Before moving towards the hidden requirement, guys, we have one question from Mr. Farhan. He's asking, sir, what if we do wrong classification of debt or equity, but explain correctly the impact on ratios? Will we get the marks? Yes, you will get the marks. Why? Even you will get the passing marks. Mohammad Zoeb Bilal, yes, it should be in P&L according to the conceptual framework. You are right. Okay, guys. Now, what is the hidden requirement, guys? I just discussed earlier that there will be something for which the directors are unsure. So listen carefully. However, the directors are unsure how the decommissioning provision will impact on the impairment testing of mines. So this is the hidden requirement. Now, if you are not answering this part, then it means you are not attempting 5 marks. Maybe you are just attempting 3 marks. Maybe you are attempting 4 marks. Maybe attempting 2 marks. If you will talk about this as well, it means you are attempting 5 marks. So sometimes people think that they are attempting 100% marks, but actually they missed some of the requirements of the question that was given in this scenario. Okay, so if the director is unsure about something, you need to talk about that thing as well in your discussion. So this was the requirement. Now guys, I'm not reading the question, I'm just moving towards the standard. So I'm going to revise some of the IS 36 that is required here, and that's it. So guys, listen carefully. We know what we need for impairment. So first you need to define impairment loss. So I told you earlier that first thing that you should do is to define impairment loss. So what is impairment loss? He's asking me whether to recognize an impairment loss or not. So technically I should tell them that what is impairment loss. So impairment loss is excess of carrying value of asset over its recoverable value, over its recoverable value. Guys, just tell me, is it a journal definition or is it a specific to the question? Is it relevant? Is it a weak answer or is it a good answer? Just tell me, how can I make it more, or how can I make it better answer, guys? Just tell me. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Yes, you guys are all right. So I should use the name of Bismouth. Look, the first line should be Bismouth should recognize an impairment loss if carrying value is in excess of mine over its recoverable value. So this is the perfect answer, guys. You can say this is a good answer. So this is how you guys actually will relate your knowledge to the question. Okay. Now, this was the first line. So we need carrying value and we need recoverable value. Okay. So now how can I identify that what need to be written and what we need not to write? So what should we write, what should we not write, what should we think that we should include in the answers and what not to be included? For that we need to read the answer. Listen carefully. Question. You need to identify the issue, guys. Very important. So listen carefully. And 31st December X7, Bismouth company owns mines which have a carrying amount of 200. So we have carrying value, guys. The company had committed itself to decommissioning its mines at the end of their useful life. Decommissioning cost actually is the part of asset cost. This is included in this 200 because as per IS 16, there is 3 components of asset. The first one is purchase price. The second one is directly attributable expenses necessary to bring the asset in usable condition. And the third one is present value of dismantling, removing, and restoration, which is actually decommissioning cost. So it should be a part of asset cost, and it is a part of asset cost. But it doesn't mean that you will start writing about IS 16 that as per IS 16 this is a part of asset cost. It should be a part of there's no need to write it because the question is whether to recognize an impairment loss or not. And there is a question that how to treat with this decommissioning, how the decommissioning provision will impact on impairment. They are asking you to tell them the treatment to them to tell them the impact of decommissioning on the impairment. That's it. They are not asking you that the director is unsure how to treat decommissioning provision. If the question is how to treat decommissioning provision, then you should talk about this. So now, guys, we have carrying value. Carrying value is 200. Now, what is next? I'll answer this question on the ICC practice platform as well, guys. Okay, the company has committed itself to decommissioning its mines at the end of their useful life. at the end of their useful life and created a decommissioning provision of 53 million. Okay. However, the directors are unsure how the decommissioning provision will impact the impairment testing of the mine's hidden requirement. At the end of the useful life of mine, its reusable components will be dismantled and sold. Ultimately, it will give you some benefits. Okay. The following information relates to the decommissioning of mines at 31st December X7. So you have some of the information here. Carrying value of decommissioning provision is 53. Look, guys, present value future cash flows from sale of reusable components at decommissioning date. This is your inflow. Then sale of mining output from 31st December X7 to decommissioning date. Then again, this is your inflow. Operating cost from 31st December X2 decommissioning cost is 48. Look, now you need to apply an impairment test. So what is next? Useful life of this mine is 5 years. Now I need to discuss some of the standard, guys. Other than this, I need to discuss how to apply an impairment test. So in the question, only cash flows are given. It means I should talk about cash flows. So I should talk about cash flows because the cash flows are given. Okay. Because it is already a present value, so I don't need to talk about how to calculate present value. So now let me revise what should be written in the exam and what should not be. So when you will compare carrying value with the recoverable value is higher of value in use. This is the basic knowledge and fair value less cost to sell. Guys, in this question, there is no fair value less cost to sell available. So if fair value less cost to sell is not available, then we can use value in use as recoverable value. This is something that we have already studied in I-36. If not, then I'm revising it. In the absence of fair value less cost to sell, if you don't have assets fair value less cost to sell, then value in use can be considered as recoverable value. But it is not applicable vice versa. Means if value in use is not given and fair value less cost to sell is given, you will not consider fair value less cost to sell as your recoverable value. So there would be three situations now. I'm revising I-36. The first situation is value in use and fair value less cost to sell both are given, then you will pick higher as a recoverable value. Second situation, value in use is given, then you will take recoverable value as your value in use. And if no fair value less cost to sell given, it's okay, value in use will be your recoverable value. But in third situation, if value in use is not given, but fair value less cost to sell is given, you will not consider fair value less cost to sell as your recoverable value. Then you need to apply an impairment test on cash generating unit. Okay. So it means I will use recoverable value. Because I will use recoverable value, so I will write this line in the question that in the absence of fair value less cost to sell, I'll consider value in use as my recoverable value. So I'm going to write this line. Then question is that there are certain cash flows. So I need to know about some information about the cash flows. I need to discuss that information as well. Obviously with the company name, with the asset name as well. So what is that information, guys, that is required? So I'm going to revise this. If you are actually calculating this recoverable value, then obviously recoverable value is higher of value in use and fair value less cost to sell. Fair value less cost to sell and value in use. What is value in use, guys? Value in use is present value of all future cash flows on a net basis through continuous use of asset, and through sale at the end. Now we need to consider each and every cash flows very carefully, and there are certain guidance on this cash flows. What is that guidance? Very important guidance. and there are multiple questions on this cash flows. So I can name the questions as well on each consideration. So examiner, one of the favorite area of examiner. Okay, I'll tell you what has already been asked and what are the considerations that have not yet been asked. Okay, so what is the present value of future cash flows? So which cash flows we do need to consider and which cash flows can be ignored? So Mr. Temur is here and he's writing very relevant data. So let's talk about G. What are the things that we need to discuss? Okay. Now, what is next, guys? Sir, in value, while calculating value in use, the cash flows should be based on reasonable and supportable assumptions. Reasonable and supportable assumptions. And you should use most recent budget and forecast. Most recent budget and forecast. So there was a question in the past papers where examiners said they are using budgets from the previous 2 years. They are not using their recent budgets. They are saying these recent budgets are not realistic, while the previous 2 years back, 2 years ago budgets were more realistic. So they were using 2 years budget. So if they were using budget from 2 years ago, that is not allowed, guys, under IAS 36. So the answer was that they should use the most recent budget and most recent forecast, and that should be supported with the reason based on the reasonable and supportable assumptions. Okay, so there was a question where the assumptions was not reasonable, like the company was in losses for the last 3 years or 4 years, and the company was in losses and the conditions are worst. Still the same conditions are even worsening the conditions. The conditions are still as in the previous 4 years, or the conditions are bad for the company, even more bad for the company, even worse for the company. And now they are saying that we will get profits in the next years. So we use profits as a projection. So you cannot use profits as a projection because there is no supportable assumption, because the conditions are same. If the conditions have changed, economic conditions, then yes, you can use the profits. But if still the conditions are same, the company is going to produce the losses in the next years as well. So this is the most important line, and the examiner has already set a question on this as well. But obviously in 2014, so the things I already mentioned that the areas are repeating. Majority 70 to 80% paper would be repetitive nature. So these things could be asked again. Then guys, next is that IAS 36 presumes that you should not go beyond 5 years. You should use the estimates of maximum 5 years for a period of 5 years. Budgets should not exceed, you should not go beyond 5 years. For if you want 6-7 years, then obviously you need to extrapolate these budgets rather than to use the 6th-7th year budget. So you will not use 6th and 7th years budget. Okay, then guys, okay, this is applicable here as well. Look, the mine's life is 5 years. Mine's life is 5 years. So you will write this point. First you will write this point, and then you will say here mine's life is 5 years, so there is no problem to go beyond 5 years. So this is how you will write the line, you will apply it. Okay, then what is next, guys? Management should assess the reasonableness of its assumptions. We talked it earlier that if the company is making losses for many years and the conditions are even worse, then the company is not uh, uh, will not get back towards profit. So it would be impossible for the company. So the reasonableness of assumption should be there. And the next point is, by examining the causes of differences between past cash flows projection and the actual cash flows. What does it mean? It means you have assumed that in next year we will have this cash flow. This was the budget. And from that budget, you use the cash flows to calculate value in use. But the next year, actual cash flows were different from the budget. It means actually cash flows are different. So you need to revise your budgets. You need to revise the cash flows because actually the company is not performing as per budget. So company is not producing cash as per budget. It means the next year budget and the next year budget would not perform, would not create the same cash flows that you have already used in value. So what you need to do, you will revise the cash flows. So you need to revise this cash flow. So we have one question on this area as well, guys. So examiner has already tested this area as well, that the company was not using the differences between actual and past cash flows projections. There was a material difference, but the company was not using these differences, and the company didn't revise the remaining cash flows. So the suggestion was that you need to revise. Then, guys, some cash flows we need to ignore. Future restructuring, which didn't met the criteria as per IS 37, does not met criteria in IS 37. If it does not met criteria, we will not use that restructuring. If it has already met the recognition criteria as per IS 37, then yes, we can use these restructuring cash flows. And this is something that has not yet been tested in the exam. The examiner has not tested this point. Okay, maybe in your attempt, because the IS 36 impairment would be there, guys. As we know that the repetitive 36 was IS 36 was 7 times in your exam. Okay. Next, guys, there are certain cash flows that we are not going to use. We will not use financing activities cash flows. Then we will not use income tax receipts and payments. It means we will use pre-tax cash flows, and we will ignore future capital nature expenditures and the revenue from those future capital expenditures. So these are the points that you need to keep in mind while calculating value use. So you don't need to mention this point here because there is no restructuring point. You don't need to mention this point here because there was no restructuring point. Yes, you can talk about this because we have future cash flows. Yes, you can talk about this because the mine's life is 5 years. Yes, you should talk about this because we should talk about this in each question. So this is the line that you can apply in each question. So guys, this is the relevant knowledge, and that's it. There is no other knowledge required. There is no discussion about the indications because in question there was no indication of impairment. So what we need to do, we'll go back to the question, and now we will learn how to write the answer. Okay, so guys, how to write the answer? This is the question, guys. So just tell me what we should do now. I think you guys have clear idea. Just carefully listen. You have just 5 marks. If you have just 5 marks, it means you have 5 into 1.8. It means you have 9 minutes to solve this part. And you have wasted 1 to 2 minutes in understanding this. You have wasted 2 minutes to plan the answer, that what you need to write and what you don't need to write. And then you have just 5 minutes left for writing. Now guys, what to write and what not to write. Okay, so this is important. Okay guys, Someone is asking me whether I would provide the answer of these questions or not. Guys, this is question 2 from the past paper. So answers are available on ACCA website. If you want me to share, I will share these past papers as well, along with the examiner's report. Okay. So otherwise, this is past paper question, Bismouth company. Okay. Now, guys, the slides have already been shared. Now, what's next? What is next? So, yes, guys, Mr. Ahm is asking, are these the guidelines that need to consider while calculating value in use? Yes. While you are calculating value in use, you need two items, guys. So the first one is cash flows. Then you need cash flows, present value of those cash flows. Then you need a discount rate. There are certain guidelines on the discount rates as well. But because in this question, discount rate was not mentioned in the question, so it was those guidelines are not required in this particular question. Okay, so you need to write relevant. No need to write about the discount factor if it's not given in the question. Okay, so guys, now what we need to write? The first line we will write, obviously, that the mine. Let me take you guys towards ACCA practice platform, and let's see how this area was tested there. Okay, guys, here is the student area section, and drop down menu, I'm going towards study support resources. Here are study support resources. Now I need to select my qualification, which is ACCA qualification. Now I need to pick the exam, which is SPR. So here is SPR exam. So we are moving towards ACCA practice platform, and then we will construct this answer over there. So now here are the SPR resources. Very important resources are examiner's report. You should read the examiner's report. Then past papers. I'm solving past papers, guys. Then the most important is technical articles. These technical articles, these technical articles are the must-do area in the upcoming 2 weeks. So I'm going towards CB exam techniques, examiner's report, technical articles. Okay, I'm going towards ACCA practice platform, so I'm going to click on this tab. This will lead us towards a window where we need to click on this login to practice platform. In case if you are unaware how to access this ACCA practice platform, we need username and password. So here is a new window for my ACCA practice platform. So we have different papers available here. I need to find SPR, and here is SPR. So I'm going to click on this plus button, and now we have blank workplace. If you want to attempt a question that is not available here, but you want to practice it on this platform, then you can click on the blank workplace. Now I need to pick international, Ireland or UK version. I'm going to pick international version. So we have ACCA official resources. Yes. Do I need past paper, past exams, practice exams, specimen exams? I need past exams. So here is the past exams available. The recent past exam we need to assign. I'm going to unassign. Look. So if I'll click here, assign, So it will appear here, guys. So here is the exam. I'm going to click here. So I'll find the exam here. It is March June 2021 exam. I'll start resume, and it will take me to the questions. You need to perform some certain steps before reaching to this slide. Now I've already started, so I need to move towards next. If it's giving me that section A has 2 parts, this is question 1. I don't need this question. I'm moving towards question 2. This is the question 2, guys. Bismouth company is a mining company. Investors in Bismouth company receives earnings from mining projects as return on their investments. The year end is 31st December 2007. The following exhibits are available on the left hand side of the screen. It means that these are the exhibits. Impairment testing of mines. This is the exhibit that is related to the impairment testing. Then, guys, we have class A and B shares exhibit. This is requirement of B, and then this is the blockchain technology. Okay, let me click the requirements. So here is the requirements, guys. Your exam will be exactly in the same window, guys. It would be exactly in the same format. You will find the exhibits, means information, question, data here. You will find the requirements, and then you will have to pick response options. Either you want to write on the word processor or you want to write on the spreadsheet. Obviously, the calculations part will be performed on the spreadsheet and the theoretical part will be performed on the word processor. But we have options, and I'm going to explore these options right here. So please don't be panic and just wait. How many options can I use to answer this part? Look, discuss with suitable calculations whether the Bismouth company should recognize an impairment loss on the mines. So I'm going here, I'm going to click here. So this is the question data, guys. So same question data is available here. You can adjust this window easily. Okay, so this is the window, guys. You can resize it. Okay, so here is the, okay, now I need a requirement in front of me. So I just want to adjust this as well here. So I can zoom in this data, this information. So look, I have just zoomed in it further. Now, guys, what I'm going to do? Now I need a response. There is certain calculations and there is a theoretical portion. So ideal situation is, but it obviously it won't, it will not affect your marks, guys. It is not, the examiner is not going to penalize you that what are you using. It's totally your discretion what you want to use. The first thing that I can use is just a word file, because calculations are very few. So I can use a word processor and I can answer this on a word processor. So look how I'm going to answer. We will have one word processor for one question. It means you need to answer part A here, you need to answer part B here, and you need to write answer on part C as well. So you should make it clear for the examiner that which part are being answered. So which parts are being answered, you need to make it clear to the examiner. So this is something you need to do practice. Look what I'm going to do. This is the question, this is the requirement. So I'm going to copy this requirement, entire requirement. Look, obviously I'll leave the 5 marks. So I'm going to pick the exact requirement. I'll just copy it by Control C and I'm going to paste it so that I can tell the examiner that I am going to answer this part. So what I'm going to do this. Now I have plenty of options, guys. Look, now there is a mess on my screen. There is a word, my answers word processor. There is a question is hidden. So what I need to do? I just need to resize this window. Okay, so here is a resize window. Requirement is not required now because you can easily close that requirement. So now what I need to do, I will resize this as well. Look, so here is the question and is the answer. The first thing is that I just copy and pasted the requirement to make it clear. Okay. Now, what we need to do? So we need to write. Okay. So what I'm going to write now, we have already discussed. So I'm going to just give you few lines to give you an idea that how I'm going to present my answer here. So guys, I'm going to use the company name Bismouth. Company should recognize an impairment loss if carrying value of mines is in excess of its recoverable value. Look, so this is my first line. Okay, now now we know that the recoverable value is value in use, and company should use value in use, should consider value in use as its recoverable value in the absence of fair value less cost to sell. Fair value less cost to sell. Okay, guys, look, we are using value in use in this question, and cash flows. So, okay, guys, and cash flows should be based on reasonable and supportable assumptions. Options, and should not exceed above 5 years. Should not exceed above 5 years. But here, this is not the problem, as mine's life is 5 years. Next, you can write that this must be supported by the recent budgets. That's it. So this is something that you are going to write. Now, I need to write hidden treatment. This is something that is really important, that you should be aware of the requirements. How to treat dismantling provision. Dismantling provision or decommissioning provision is the same thing. Now I just make the new paragraph. So I'm very clear that what I'm going to write in the question. So I'm not going to write this. I'm going to solve this. Now, guys, you will treat, I'll just explain and you will write it in your words. So now we are going to apply an impairment test. So first option is that you should solve this in Excel response. What you need to write here, the calculation is in spreadsheet. This is something that you need to write. In workings, just assume that I'm solving this in working 1, in working 2, working 3. It's totally, obviously, it's your numbers. So you need to refer that where is the calculation? Where is the calculations? Where are the calculations? You need to understand this. So guys, you need to tell them that the calculations are in spreadsheet in working 1. The examiner will obviously look into the spreadsheet. So this is the first requirement, and I'm going to solve this so that you have a clear idea that how to solve the question in the exam. So I need a word response. So what I'm going to do, I'm writing, sorry, I need a spreadsheet to response. So I have a spreadsheet now here as well. So this is, it will take some time, guys. Okay, just be patient in the exam as well. So I just need to resize this as well. Okay. So I'm going to, now I'm going to solve this. So I'm going to clearly mention that this is working one, part A, part A. Okay. So what is the requirement, guys? So what is the correct treatment? I'll explain. So you need carrying value, guys. Look, you don't need to write it again. Carrying value of decommissioning provision is given. You just need to pick here Control C. You are going to write here Control V. Look, carrying value of the decommissioning provision. So what is the carrying value of this provision? This is 53. You can pick this as well if you don't want to write. So this is 53. Now you need value in use, recoverable value. So recoverable value would be recoverable value, which will be value in use. So how to calculate recoverable value? So you are going to calculate recoverable value here, value in use calculation. Okay, guys. So we have 20 inflow. We need to use this 20 inflow. Then is equal to. Then you need to use this 203. This is again an inflow. So operating inflows, yes, you can use this. And now the last thing is that you need an outflow, which is minus 48. So you'll write here value in use. So you have a value in use 175. Look, this is the wrong treatment that actually I'm doing. Sir, this is 157. Carrying value of, I have a carrying value of decommissioning. Actually, I need a carrying value of asset. So I need 200. Carrying value of asset. So guys, this is carrying value of asset. This was the answer that actually majority students produced. Majority student produced this answer. And according to the examiners, majority got 80% marks. Majority got 80% marks. This was the majority answer of majority students. So what is the impairment loss? So look, what is the impairment loss? Carrying value is more than recoverable value. So we have impairment loss. So we have impairment loss, guys. What is this loss? The loss amount is 25. So yeah, it's 25. And now you need to write on the spreadsheet, on the worksheet, because the examiner asked whether Bismouth's company should recognize a loss. Now you should write that Bismuth company should recognize an impairment loss of 25. That will be charged to P&L. Look, even this is not required, that how you are going to write it. The question was whether to recognize or not. The question was not what is the accounting treatment. So this was not required, but still if you want to write it, this should be charged to profit and loss. Profit and loss. It should be recognizing profit if mines is carried at cost model, which is not given in the question, whether it's whether we are carrying it under cost model or revaluation model. So you can write both, that if it's carrying under cost model, so it will be charged to P&L, and if it's carried under revaluation model, it will be treated as revaluation loss. This is the treatment as per IS 36. Now guys, what was the treatment of dismantling provision? You need to write it this. Listen carefully. This dismantling provision is a part of these cash flows as well as this carrying value. So as per IS 36, what you need to do, you need to deduct this 53 carrying value, this 53 carrying value from both carrying values and recoverable value. The answer would be same, but the requirement is you need to apply an impairment test without dismantling. This is the dismantling treatment. So what I'm going to do, listen carefully. I'm going to deduct 53 from here. This is exactly okay, guys, just wait. It is taking a little bit time. It is taking time, guys. Just wait. So you need to deduct it, and you need to deduct it from here as well. So is equal to 175, and you need to deduct minus 53. So the impairment loss would be same, guys. Impairment loss will same because the same amount we are going to deduct from the carrying value and same amount we are going to deduct from the recoverable value. So, but as per IS 36, you need to deduct this amount. So the loss would be same. The conclusion is same. You'll get the marks, but obviously you need to write it here. So there was a 1 mark available for this treatment. That what to do with this. So in your word response question, you need to write this as well because it was a hidden requirement. So you need to write here that as dismantling provision was a part of asset and cash flows provision. Like, look, my provision spelling is wrong, so there is no deduction of spellings as well. Okay, so don't waste your precious time on spelling correction. If something is wrong, then it's okay. Okay, if you don't have time to just go ahead and just solve the question. So dismantling provision should be deducted from both value and carrying value. So this is how this will impact an impairment loss, but the answer would remain same. So guys, this was the requirement that you need to solve on the ACCA practice platform. The other requirement, other method could be that if it's a simple calculations, you don't need to go to the Word for that. You can insert a table here. So let me insert a table here on a Word. So you can type your whole answer in the Word. Okay. So okay, guys. Yes, you can copy it from there as well. So carrying value of the provision was 147. Then you have recoverable value. It was I just copy it from the Excel and just pasted it. Otherwise, you can put the table here. You can insert table from here. I just need 3 to 4 lines and 2 columns. So look, so you can readjust this table as well, and you can solve the question here as well. So you don't need to go to the Excel sheet. You can resize it, guys. So you can give the calculation, same calculation here as well. So guys, this is how you can use the workplace given in the ACCA exams. You can use just worksheet to give the answer. You can use both of these areas, and obviously the examiner won't mind anything. But obviously, it's preferable that you should use Excel sheet for spreadsheet for the calculations, and for theoretical part you should use the word processor. I hope I'm clear, guys. As the session was till 11:30 and it's already at here in Pakistan it's already 11:38. So we are going to end the session here, and we will continue the session tomorrow from here from this question, but I just want you guys to attempt some questions from ACCA practice platform. And what I just want to do, you can solve these questions, guys. So I'm going to close this. I just want you guys to go back and to solve the questions on this practice platform. Okay, so what are the questions that I just want you guys to solve? So we have here strategic business reporting. You should solve, guys, questions strategic business reporting, international ACCA official website. You should solve these questions, guys. These are the past papers again, although they call it practice exam 1, 2, 3, but these are the past papers. So I just want you guys to practice this practice exam 1. Practice exam 1, question 2 only. And if there are some standards that you didn't cover yet, so I just want you to solve. This is practice part 1. So let me click here. So here is SBR practice exam 1. So I'm going to resume. Guys, you should solve these 1 questions. If you have time, you should solve all 3 exams questions, and we are talking about question 2. So here is the question 2, guys. This is the question, guys. The question name is Farham. You can easily find the answer of this past paper. I will share the past paper as well. I'm going to share these past papers in the WhatsApp group, guys. Okay, and the people who are not added yet to the WhatsApp group, obviously I'm going to add them as well. So this is the question, guys. You should at least solve. This is I-36, guys. Sale of naval company was IFRS 5, and you should solve this part, at least this part, because we actually talked about this part. It has 7 marks available along with 2 professional marks. It means it's a 9 marks part, and this is the ethical issues arising from the scenario. And you can easily read the answer of the past paper. Answer is available here as well. If you'll submit the exam, and you'll get the answers as well. So after submitting the exam, after completing the exam, you can get the answers here as well. Otherwise, I'm going to share the past papers as well. So guys, this is something that you need to attempt. So I'll just request you all that you should be solving question 2 of these, at least these 3 past papers, which are available on the ACCA practice platform. Otherwise, I'm going to share question. So look, this is impairment and IFRS 5. Let me tell you guys which this question is from which attempt. So let me move towards here. So this was actually, guys, from September 2018. This is September 2018 past paper I'm going to share. Actually, you should solve these 2 questions: September 18, December 18, March 19, June 19, September 19, December 19. Whichever papers are available, you should solve this. I'm going to solve these 2 questions tomorrow, and obviously we will be covering question 3 and question 4 tomorrow. That's it from my side, guys. Now I'll take questions and I'll answer the questions. So if you have any questions, so you can ask the questions now. I was unable to answer all the questions. So guys, so I'm going to take the questions. Okay, guys. The first question is, can we give abbreviations to the company's name, Bismouth company, as B company? Yes, you can do that, Mariam. Yes, you can do that. Next question is, what if there are 2 rates? One is market rate and the company's own risk adjusted rate. Then which should we use in calculation of work value in use. So it should be company a market assessed rate, Nayab. The next question is unable to access question and answers. Can you see questions here? Yes, Stephen. I was able to look into your questions, but actually I was unable to answer the questions. But right now I'm free. You can ask the questions. Okay. What questions are we covering tomorrow? Question 3. I will be covering question 3 from the past papers. Most probably the last 2 attempts. Most probably the last 2 attempts. So, which would be March, June 2021 and December 20. Sir, will you discuss IFRS 9 in little detail as most of us having issues? It's an Aisha. Yes, Aisha, we have 4th day, 5th day available. I will be revising some of the topics and I will include IFRS 9 as well. But obviously, it's not possible to discuss the whole IFRS 9, but you can ask for some areas at least. Okay. Here is Mr. Farhan, and he is again asking for IFRS 9, please. Okay. So there is Majabeen. She's asking, is sir, is today's session over? Yes, it's over. I'm just taking questions and that's it. So where will be the recordings available? Suhaiber Rahman is asking. We will share a link in the group. It will be available tomorrow, by tomorrow. So today's session over. What time will be the recordings of session will be available? Most probably before 2 to 3 hours before the tomorrow's session. We have Mariam. She's asking, would you revise IFRS 15? Yes, some of the parts of IFRS 15, because we are going to solve some of the questions that actually are from IFRS 15. Okay, but obviously some of the parts. So will you discuss syllabus area G, please? It is new. Okay. Peter, actually, obviously we'll discuss it in question 3 and 4. Okay. We will discuss it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Sir, is there a new technical article on SPR? Not yet new technical articles, but there are certain technical articles which are not yet been asked. So there is a technical article on artificial intelligence. So you should read that technical article. It's in the ethics portion as well. Sir, in exam, so please include IS 12 deferred taxation division also. Sir, in exams, when we answer a particular area requirement in exam and moves forward and reads something new in a question ahead, then it feels like we could have used this information in our answer earlier, and going back consumes more time. Please confirm as per exam requirement. For instance, in current questions, we are solving all the information required to answer part A will only be available in this one particular exhibit only. Mr. Aham is asking that the question is very relevant. Is asking whether there would be one exhibit available for one requirement or there will be more. Mr. Aham, the examiner will be very clear. If you need to answer, if you need to use more than one exhibits to answer one requirement, the examiner will refer. Examiner will write in the question requirement that please refer exhibit 1 and 2. If the examiner is not referring, then obviously you will use that just only one exhibit to give the answer of that requirement, and that's it. Okay. We have with us Aisha. Sir, I dropped my exam twice at 49. Any advice other than you marked in this? Aisha, just try to complete the exam. Complete the exams and just divide your requirements into sub-requirements. Okay, and just try to complete the paper. You'll get through. And just try to relate a little bit of your answer with the requirement and with the scenario as well. Then we have our solution of these exams available. Yes, solutions are available. I'm going to share solutions and questions in WhatsApp group. Okay, and actually these are past papers. the solutions are available. Let me actually take you to the questions and answers. Okay, just wait. Okay, so I'm moving towards here. So guys, here we have look, this is the SBR exams. In past exams, we have different exam versions available, and now what we are going to do, we are going to find the question and answers of these practice. Here is the question and answer, guys. You have question and answer from the recent attempt. The question I was discussing was from this question, this paper. So here is the question and you have answers, and these are the past papers available along with the answers, guys. At least you should go through these, gone through these questions at least once, guys, and specifically question 2. Okay, this is the these are the things that are available here. So what is next, guys? Okay, our solution. I don't see questions from other participants. Yes, this Miss Carla, yes, this app doesn't allow you to see the questions of other candidates. It's only me, means organizer, who can see the questions. No, Sweb, this should not be happened that you are writing writing same thing into answers. This shouldn't be happening. Please share WhatsApp group link. It has already been shared. I'm going to share it again as well. You can text me. I'll add you, Mr. Rizwan. Sir, I have 2 exams, so I only have this week for SPR preparation. Shall I do Kitter past papers are on ACCA practice platform? No, not necessarily, Mr. Javed. You just solve some of the questions so that you have practice on working on the ACCA practice platform, and that's it. Sir, why do we deduct 53 from both? Could you kindly explain? And it is necessary to add a reason in it answers. No, Amina. Actually, as per IS 36, the cash flows related to the provision should not be a part of impairment test. I'm repeating myself again. Cash flows related to the provision should not be a part of impairment test. But actually, the provision, dismantling, removing provision, and the decommissioning provision is already part of asset cost as well as the cash flows. So we are deducting it from both sides, and this is the only liability for which we do these kinds of treatments. Okay, so we need to deduct it 53 from both sides, from the recoverable value and from the carrying value as well. Sir, you haven't solved ethics questions yet. We will also solve it tomorrow, and there is something situation where same things can be written in 2 separate requirements and vice for that. Yeah, so I will do that. Okay, cheers. Texting you on WhatsApp, please add in the group. Yes, Mr. I will do that. Sir, how can I join the WhatsApp group? Miss Sumbal Said, please just drop a message at my number. I've shared my number. You can see the answers, and I will add you there. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to share the link, and you can join through a link. The answer, it is given already. Guys, if you just check the answers, you will get a message from Almas Abbas. It is there is the link. You can join through this link. Okay. Otherwise, I'll share. I'll add you. Just drop a message. Okay. And then my number is also given in the same message. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. So if we are comparing fair value with the carrying value of impairment, should we deduct the provision from the carrying value only? Mr. Muaz Siddiq. No, boy, you will deduct value in use. You will deduct it from recoverable value. Okay, in both situations, because fair value do reflect this, the impact of this provision. Okay. Then we have no more with us. Please, here is a message. You can join through that link, or you can text me there. My number is there. I will add you. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Stay blessed. See you tomorrow.